Ex-boyfriend got my sister pregnant while cheating. Now my mom threatens to cut me off of my grandpa's inheritance if I don't attend their wedding. I, 35F, met my ex-boyfriend, Zach, 38M, almost 6 years ago while I was working at a restaurant. He was really nice, charming and mature. He made me feel loved and special. For some context, I grew up in a dysfunctional family. My dad and mom were both alcoholics who always used to fight. My dad passed away when my sister Beatrice, 32F, was born. For some reason, my mom was way too fond of Beatrice since her birth rather than me. This is why Beatrice was basically babied by my mother. After Zach entered my life, I felt a newfound sense of fulfillment. He was supportive and caring, always showering me with gifts and taking me on long drives. With him, I felt whole. However, our relationship wasn't all smooth in the beginning. In fact, he has cheated on me 4 times and even left me twice to be with other girls. Every time it wouldn't work out with them, he would come back crying saying how I was the one and would beg me for forgiveness. Looking back, I had such low self-esteem during that time that I would think I could make him change for me. But his antics continued. He would continue to follow random women on Instagram and I found out that he had been texting with his ex, so we had a huge fight regarding this. During these arguments, he would try to gaslight and manipulate me into believing that I should be a better girlfriend to him if I didn't want him to be distracted. All of this started to get to me, so I decided to take a break with him, telling him that I needed to clear up my head. He started arguing with me that I was making a big mistake, but I knew I needed some space away from him to think. During this time, I made it clear to him that I didn't want him to talk with my mother and sister regarding this since they had become quite attached to him after I had introduced them. He told me if I want to talk to them, I will. You're no one to stop me. I tried to reason with him that this was our private matter and if he wanted us to work then he should not go and blabber anything to my family. However, my ex would frequently text my family and would even hang out with them. My mom and sister would then lie to me about it if I asked about them being in contact with Zach. Due to their frequent hangouts and text messages, my family found out that I had broken up with Zach and this did not sit well with them. They confronted me about it, telling me how I should stop with this break nonsense and get back together with Zach. My younger sister, Beatrice, started telling me how Zach loved me and missed me, so I should get over my childishness, or else someone else might take up Zach. I asked them if they knew exactly why I had asked Zach for a break, and to my shock, my mother nodded. She said how Zach had told her everything and she still didn't see why I needed space from him. I tried to explain to her how he had exchanged inappropriate messages, left me for 2 women, and continued to be in contact with his ex, but my mom interrupted me saying how we are so young and men sometimes do this. My eyes widened in shock and I asked her if my father had ever cheated on her. She shook her head saying that she had actually cheated on my father once because she was blackout drunk, but my father had chosen to forgive her. She continued to say how I needed to show grace to Zach since he is the only guy who is stuck by me. I don't know why, but my family's words got to me, so I decided to get back with Zach the very next day. But this time, I told him that we both needed to go for counseling to address his cheating issues. He begrudgingly agreed and we had a few sessions, attempting to delve into the root causes of his behavior. As a result, our communication started to improve, and our relationship started seeing some positive changes. He unfollowed random girls and would no longer send inappropriate messages to anyone. This was a blissful time in our relationship. We had healthy sex and overall things seemed to be going well. This is why I started getting eager to tie the knot with him, but Zach said that he believed in securing our finances before considering marriage and children, hence I respected this. Truly, he was turning into the perfect partner for me, or so I thought. However, last month, I uncovered something that absolutely rocked my world. My boyfriend had been cheating on me with my sister Beatrice. His deceit came to light when he claimed to be out of town for a week, but I discovered receipts in his pocket that showed he had been in town all along. I immediately got suspicious, so that night, when he was sleeping, I checked his phone and this is how I discovered his messages with Beatrice. There were hundreds of messages where they had confessed their love for each other as well as exchanged nudes. I had tears in my eyes as I felt my heart break realizing that my own sister had done this to me. This betrayal came out of nowhere and absolutely destroyed my once perfect life. Beatrice and I had been close since childhood. I loved her and looked out for her. How could she betray me like this? Looking back, there were signs I should have noticed. Beatrice's overly affectionate behavior towards Zach and his occasional lingering glances at her should have raised red flags, but I was too oblivious. I knew that I could never forgive Zach for this, so I decided to take screenshots of all their messages and send them to my email as proof. I confronted Zach the next day about this, and we had a heated argument. I demanded to know how he could betray our trust, especially with my younger sister. His response shattered me. He claimed he no longer loved me, saying how I had changed and that I didn't give him attention anymore. I started yelling at him about how I had stuck with him and decided to forgive him for everything wrong he had done to me, yet he had betrayed me by sleeping with my sister. My ex told me without a single remorse on his face that my sister understood him better and he had come to realize that he was the wrong sister all along. After this he packed his bags and left, leaving me behind crying. When I called my mother to confront her about this, she was shocked in the beginning, but then when she found out that Zach wanted to be with Beatrice, she started to say that maybe Zach was never meant to be with me and that I should be happy for my younger sister. I couldn't believe how cruel my own mother could be. She was ready to forgive Zach for cheating on me as long as he would date Beatrice. I cut short my conversation with my mother. That night, I cried myself to sleep. I felt every kind of emotion, lost, scared, angry, and like I had been used. Despite the pain, my heart couldn't help but ache, torn between the love I had for Zach and the way he had betrayed me with my sister. The next day, I woke up to multiple calls from my sister. When I finally gathered the strength to check my phone, I found a lengthy message from Beatrice. She expressed sorrow for the situation, but her tone felt more condescending than apologetic.